This will be fun because today I wanted to do a revamp of the video that many of you have seen, Cubase dark mode. So I wanted to do an updated version of that. And again, please watch that video first because the things that I'm not gonna touch here, it's probably gonna be on that video as well. Let's start by saying we have here in front of us Cubase 13 Pro. So let's start with general UI, dark mode, and light mode, because many of you asked me about the two of them. So we're gonna define once and for all what you can do and what you cannot do within Cubase. Everything is going to be in the preference, and that's going up here and going into Cubase, of course, the Cubase menu, and going into preferences. Now, in this section, let's focus on the user interface. We're gonna go here to user interface. Of course, this doesn't have anything here besides the disable GPU acceleration. And the first thing we're gonna look is at the color schemes. Now, this is the main section where you can change all the colors within Cubase, at least the main ones, the main UI. And I wanted to start here, and we're gonna start modifying this stuff. On the color scheme, you have these series of colors that you can change right away. First one here, as you click through them, it's going to change, but honestly, if you try to change any of them, for example, like this, you see what happens there. So this is the main key thing. Whatever you select here is going to change actually how Cubase looks overall. So if we're talking about light mode, the lightest mode that you can put this here, it's maybe one of these colors, and it's maybe a blue. Maybe if you like, I don't know, pink, and you want to do kind of these colors, that's how you get light mode on Cubase. Now, it's not ideal, it's not perfect, it's not something that I would do. For example, you can get these crazy colors. If that's you, feel free to, do that. Now, I cannot work with this. This is too much. And I don't like that. But light colors, there's no full white color on Cubase to do that. So you're stuck with these colors that they offer here. And as you can see, the best looking ones probably are gonna be kind of more the purple or the blue. They're easier on the eyes, maybe. And if you like that, that's completely up to you. That's gonna change the whole interface to those colors. Now, what I like to do is like to leave it around here and go to the grays, okay? So this is the standard one. I like that dark mode, and it's actually not pure black. They cannot allow you to do pure black here. Only this is, this gray color, really. So that's the most you can do on that side. I like that dark mode feel to it. Feels better to my eyesight, and that's about it. Going here, project area. Project area, it has this one right here that you can change, and the project area, it's this one. You'll see the back of this area right there. And if you change that to, for example, pure black, you're gonna see it's pure black now. Now here you can select, something more black on that side. I like to leave it like dark, really dark gray. And the cycle region here, it's where this is selected. You see the purple bar right there? You see that there's a kind of reddish color because I resetted this and that's the default and I didn't like that. So I'm going to select here also another dark gray or something similar, right? And if you want to differentiate that, if you want to do white, you can definitely do white, and that will be closer to a lighter scheme of colors. Also, you can do on the project background, you can definitely do white, and then you have something like this, which is fully white, and you can call that light mode as well. If you like to work with white on that side, that's completely up to you. know that you can do so. And the grid lines also, you can change the colors here. I like that gray, but for example, if you want blue, you can definitely do blue on those. Okay, I just like those gray colors right here. It's easier for me to look at that, and I'm gonna go with dark mode here and dark mode right here as well. Now this one, you can change it to white, and this is actually the editor. So I'm gonna go out of here, and I'm gonna open the editor. Okay, it's this area right here. Okay, that's the editor, and we're gonna work on that. Let's go to preferences really quick here. Okay, so the editor area background, you can definitely do white. So you see this in white, or you can do any other color, whatever you like, whatever you fancy on that side. I like to do completely black because that's what I like. And of course, the cycle region, same thing. I like to do maybe one of these grays. That's better for me. Okay. If you want to define it even more, that's up to you. Whatever you want to do on the color side, that's up to you. Okay. Now, the ruler background. Now, this one, whatever you select here, let's select it. You see that ruler on the back end. You can definitely add a color to that, and that can be technically blue. I don't know if you can change to another color. I don't see any other color that you can really select here other than blue, but you can definitely do white, and it's gonna be white on the back end of that. That looks kind of neat as well. I like to do the same, and I like to go with dark colors. And the inactive cycle, of course, active cycle, you can pick a color. You have the full color palette right there. Reverse cycle, independent track loop, all of those I don't touch because I like how they look. This is how I like it, but you feel free to do whatever you want on the color side. We're gonna move on because there's a lot to talk about. Now we're gonna go to track type default colors. We're gonna go to track type default colors, and these are gonna be the default colors that Cubase is gonna use to color your tracks if you don't select anything else. How this is gonna look, actually, these colors right here and these colors right here. Now here, you can definitely change the faders of those tracks. These are how this looks. It's the reason why, for example, audio channels look like gray here because I move it to be gray. And the instrument channels are kind of teal color. Let's see, instrument channels, let's put it as pink, okay? Let's do that. You see? Now they're pink. So if you want to accent on the faders, that's completely up to you. If you want to have them white, completely up to you as well. Audio channel, I like to do dark gray. For some reason, I like that, how that feels. But if you want any other color, feel free to do that. For example, you see that changing right there. But the audio channels, I like to have them with that gray color. Any other like group channels and all that stuff, that's gonna be changed here. That's the faders. So if you want to have accents of colors, completely up to you. In here, of course, we're not gonna touch this two section colors and strip colors because it's the same thing. You can change that at pleasure. Let's talk about the track and mix console channel colors. Now, here's where it gets interesting. And I want you to look at this and at this right here. Okay. So the way I have it here, it's selection brightness to the max and color strength to the minimum. Now, if I change this to the left and apply, now you see that channel that was selected, violin melody right there. Take a look again. Max, apply. It's going to have that hint of color, which I like because I know what it's selected, right? I like to have it like this, completely to the max, okay? Or you can do something in the middle maybe and have it, a little bit faded. Now, if you do this to the max, this is what's happening right there. It's gonna change how the track feels and look completely colored right there, or completely to the minimum. It's actually gonna go to dark mode. It's gonna default to the darkest color. And if you want a hint of color only, you can definitely do that. And it looks nice. It kind of have that faded color scheme to it. Whatever you like, guys, is up to you. You can see that you can go really low here and you can play with that. You can have it maybe in the middle if you like that. It's up to you. I like it this way because I think it's better for my eyesight, and I just like how this feels precisely here with these settings. Maximum on selection brightness and minimum on color strength. The other thing I like to show you right here, it's all the metering. So if I hit play here and you see those meters, how that feels and how that looks, you can definitely change it over here in preferences in the metering section. Metering appearance. This is how it looks. This is how I liked my meters to look. They have kind of a more synthwave vibe to it if you see the colors, and that's how I programmed it. So let me explain really what this is. Below 60, it's almost that signal, okay? So I put a different color there, and above 60, I did a gradient between that pink color and green. And that leads me to know exactly where kind of the signal is, right? And it's going up to -6 dBs. I know -6 dBs is the goal for me when it comes to signal, because if everything is at -6, I know it's not gonna oversaturate or it's gonna clip or anything on the mix. So that's a good standard for me. You feel free to do whatever you want. In -3 dBs, it's gonna be that edge right there between the yellow and the orange. So that's the maximum. If I know a signal is right there on that, I know it's probably about to go over. I don't want it to be there really. I want it to be more close to the line between the green and the yellow, right? And besides that, 1 dB is the red. I know it's clipping already. And in this area is super dangerous, okay? So this is how I color my metering so it makes sense for me, okay? So that's something that you can do if you want to have the meters there. And you can add and remove these sliders, and you can pick the colors right here. So it's super simple to do so. And of course, it's just a matter of adding or removing whatever colors you need on that side to make it look whatever you like, okay? It's up to you. Now, one of my subscribers asked about how we can change the actual waveform, how they look and how it feels. And we're gonna take a look at these two things and see how they look after we start changing stuff. Let's go to preferences. And this portion is gonna be under event display. Here it is. So the first one, if you click on event display, you're gonna get already 3 faders here that you can start playing with, and you will see the changes. So let's start playing with the first one. Let's move everything to the left, apply, and you're gonna see what's happening here actually. So let's see this. And this is actually affecting all the events, as you can see here. It's affecting the MIDI and also the audio tracks, okay? So let's go to preferences. If you like that feel, man, I don't know how you're gonna look at the notes or anything, but if you like that, it's up to you. Now, the first one here is the grid overlay intensity. If you go to the max, you're gonna see that's happening. If you go to the left, you're gonna see the grids popping out. So if you want to mix between the two, you can maybe do that and have a mix between the grid showing up or not. Completely up to you. Or you can definitely do that to the max. Now I had it around here because I wanted to see the grid anyways. So that's how I like it. Now let's go to event opacity, because this is the other main one. Let's go to the max here. And this is how it's going to look. It's going to give you the opacity of the actual events, okay? As you can see, you can change that. And that's how it's going to look. It's going to look completely different to what you're normally used to. But this is up to you guys, whatever you want on that side. I like to have it full on like this because it's easier for me. I like how that looks. Now, on the audio side, because this was the question, how do we change the color of the audio waveform? Now, on the audio side, event display audio, now you have 3 faders. Waveform brightness, if you go fully to the max here, it's going to be white, okay? It's going to change that to white. On the middle, exactly on the middle, it's going to fade everything inside. It's going to give you only that, only the borders of it, the outline, okay? So the outline, it's controlled by this. If you go to the max, it's going to be fully, visible pretty much. If you go to the minimum and you apply it, you're not going to see it very well. And you're only going to see the actual waveform. So if you don't want the outline, actually, you put this to the minimum and it's not going to do an outline for you. It's only going to do whatever color you pick here. And if you go here to the middle, more to the middle, it's going to show kind of a faded thing. I bet right there in the middle, you're not going to see anything almost. Very hardly you're going to see anything. But to the left is black. To the right is white. I don't think there's a thing that you can pick the actual color of the waveform besides white and black, but it's something that you need to be aware of, okay? So I like to do that. I like to have somewhat of a outline to it. And fade handle brightness, you can definitely do that. And that's going to change the handles right there. If you want those lines to be black, you go left. If you want to be wide, you go right, and it's going to be like that. This one, it's not going to change. What it's going to change on this side, for example, if I decided this event, it's going to be, lime. Now the lines here, the actual waveform is going to be, lime color. That's how you change the actual color of the waveform, really, based on the track, okay? So here, I'm going to select blue. That's how the waveform is going to be, changed. And this is changing the event. It's not changing the full track. If you want to change the full track, you need to deselect the event and pick the actual track right there and change the color to something that you like, right? Now, because this event is like that, you need to color that, okay? Because if you color one event, it's going to remain with that color pretty much. On the main editor, it's going to switch the waveform to the color of the track. So if the track is pink, the waveform is going to show on the editor as pink, okay? Hope that makes sense. Now with MIDI, it's something interesting also. We're going to go to preferences. We're going to go to MIDI here, and we have a few faders that we can tweak as well. Take a look at the notes right there. Note brightness. To the left also, same thing. It's going to be black. To the right, it's going to be white. And for example, controller brightness, you can go left and you see those lines right there. So if you play with aftertouch or you do something with the mod wheel and all that, it's going to show up in black if you go left. And if you go right, it's going to show up as white, okay? So whatever you fancy on that side, up to you. I like to leave it around, maybe around here, so I know what's going on. Maybe a little bit faded, right? But this one, I like to leave it as black because I like the contrast between the color and the black. That's fine for me. Now you can show the controllers or not. If you choose not to show the controllers, those lines are gonna disappear. That's what this is for. So you apply that, you're gonna see those. Okay, if you go to the event display in editor, now this applies only when you have multiple tracks selected like this. I have 3 MIDI tracks selected here, and these extra notes are from these 2 tracks. So now if I go to the right, it's gonna be super bright. If you go to the left and you apply it, it's gonna be darkened. Those notes are not selected, are on the background, and that's visually how I like to work, because I know what it's super bright, it's in front of me, and what it's dark, it's, you know, on the back. So I know there's a depth of field right there, so I know what I'm working on at any given time. Okay, so for example, I'm gonna hit OK here. If I click here, you're gonna see that that changes. Okay, so that's what that is for, you know. Hope that makes sense for you. If you have more questions, please feel free to write me in the comments and let me know, because I'm always constantly looking to make more tutorials for you. And if you want to get the full picture, please go and watch the previous video to this one, so you know exactly how to work with colors within Cubase as well, and maybe fill in the blanks if I left anything out from this video. And remember, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any other video from us, and see you in the next one.